Welcome to the Unraveling the Scriptures channel. Arabs and Jews. Who hasn't heard of these two peoples? In popular perception, they are often seen as related. However, some individuals, including certain Jews and Arabs, view them as groups in conflict. While many form friendships among each other, there is also a deep and complex conflict, even though both descend from Abraham himself. In this video, I'll explore the genetic relationship between these two peoples. Are you curious? Are Arabs and Jews cousin nations, half-siblings, or truly siblings? Jews and Arabs, genetic brothers. Surely many of you have heard the traditional story told about the origin of Arabs and Jews. As widely known, Jews, also referred to as Israelites, descend from Isaac, Abraham's son, who received the divine promise. Isaac, in turn, had a son named Jacob, who is well remembered as the founder of the nation of Israel. However, it's common for many to overlook that Jacob had a twin brother, Esau, who also gave rise to various Arab nations. So, while Jacob followed a path that led to the formation of the 12 tribes of Israel, Esau and his descendants contributed to the emergence of other nations in the region. Going back to Jacob's descendants, he had 12 sons, each of whom originated one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Among these tribes, the most well-known is the tribe of Judah, whose historical and spiritual importance eventually led to all Israelites being collectively known as Jews. Thus, Jewish history traces this lineage from Abraham through Isaac and Jacob, culminating in the Israelite tribes, with a particular emphasis on the tribe of Judah, whose identity and name became synonymous with the people of Israel over the centuries. The traditional story known about the origin of the Arabs tells that Abraham had a son before Isaac named Ishmael, born from his relationship with Hagar, an Egyptian servant. This son, Ishmael, grew up and later formed a family, having 12 sons who originated 12 Arab tribes. This narrative partly explains the Arab origins and leads many to consider Arabs and Jews as cousin peoples or half-sibling peoples, as they share a common ancestor in Abraham. However, one often overlooked point is that Arab peoples do not descend solely from Ishmael. The Arab lineage is more complex. Jacob, the ancestor of Israel's tribes, had a twin brother, Esau, who also played a fundamental role in forming Arab nations. Esau's descendants became 13 Arab tribes, further expanding this group's legacy in the region. Thus, the Arab origins are multiple, including both Ishmael's descendants and Esau's descendants, making the historical connection between Arabs and Israelites even richer and more intertwined than commonly known. In addition to the Edomites, descendants of Esau, there are other peoples within this rich genealogy. After the births of Ishmael and Isaac, Abraham married again, this time to a woman named Keturah, with whom he had 6 sons. These sons gave rise to other tribes, including one of the most well-known Arab tribes, the Midianites. Therefore, the origin of Arabs is even broader, comprising not only the Ishmaelite tribes, but also Esau's descendants, and tribes stemming from Keturah, such as the Midianites. This genealogical mosaic gives the Arab peoples a diversity of roots intricately woven with Israelite lineages. Additionally, it is interesting to note that people such as Iraqis, Syrians, and Assyrians are also of Semitic origin, sharing ancestral ties with the Israelites, but with different roots. Abraham, for example, descended from the Chaldeans, who lived in Ur of the Chaldees, one of the oldest Semitic peoples. The first peoples descended from Shem included the Elamites, Arameans, Assyrians, Akkadians, and Ludites, among others. Each of these groups carried the name of their ancestors and expanded over time, deeply influencing the culture and history of the region. These details enrich our understanding of the origins of Semitic peoples and the intricate web of connections that linked these ancient nations. Abraham, in particular, was descended from the Chaldean people, a group that shared the same origins as the Akkadians, both being descendants of Arphaxad, one of Shem's sons. This ancestry connects Abraham to a long lineage of Semitic peoples, including Elamites, Arameans, and other ancient groups from the Middle East. When analyzing Jewish genetics, we find remarkable compatibilities with various other regional peoples, such as Palestinian Arabs, Syrians, and Lebanese. Recent genetic studies show that Jews share a common genetic heritage with these peoples, confirming a kinship that dates back thousands of years. These studies reveal a shared lineage that spans generations and conflicts, uncovering a deep connection between these peoples often forgotten amid contemporary tensions. Unfortunately, this genetic affinity alone has not been sufficient to establish peace in the Middle East, as the roots of the conflict are complex and involve political, religious, and historical issues that go beyond genetics. Nevertheless, this discovery brings an interesting and promising perspective on the genetic unity between these peoples, reinforcing the notion that cultural and political boundaries may ultimately overlay a shared history that unites Jews, Palestinians, Syrians, and Lebanese in an ancestral tapestry. Jews and Arabs are widely considered cousin peoples or half-siblings due to their common descent from Abraham, and this connection is now also confirmed by genetics. According to the director of the Human Genetics Program at New York University School of Medicine, who led a new study conducted by an international team of researchers from the United States, Europe, and Israel, Jews and Arabs have maintained a common genetic base in the Middle East for over 4,000 years. Researchers analyzed the Y chromosome, which is passed down nearly unchanged from father to son in more than 1,000 men worldwide. Throughout history, the Y chromosome has undergone changes in the sequence of chemical bases that make up its DNA, leaving specific markers that can be traced using advanced genetic techniques. Genetically related populations carry specific variations, and these differences allow scientists to trace descendants of major populations and identify their common ancestors. In this study, specific regions of the Y chromosome were analyzed in 1,371 men from about 29 global populations, including Jews and other Semitic peoples of the Middle East. This also includes populations related to Jews, such as Semitic groups from North Africa and other regions. The results confirm that despite cultural and historical differences, there is a common genetic heritage connecting Jews and many Arab peoples, especially those in the Middle East. This genetic kinship offers a new perspective on the deep shared roots of these peoples and reinforces the idea of a common ancestral lineage that has endured through change and conflict over millennia. Recent studies have revealed that Jewish men share a significant set of genetic signatures with Arab peoples of the Middle East, including Palestinians, Syrians, Lebanese, and other groups in the region. These genetic signatures are distinctly different from those found in non-Semitic populations outside the Middle East, demonstrating that Jews and Arabs share more than one common ancestor and are genetically closer to each other than to other peoples around the world. This genetic kinship confirms a deep connection. Jews and Arabs are not only close in a historical sense, but are truly genetic brothers. Both are descendants of Shem, the son of Noah, who gave rise to the Semitic peoples. The Semitic ethnicity includes various groups like Assyrians, Akkadians, Chaldeans, Jews, and Arabs, all sharing a common heritage that defines them as members of the same Semitic ethnicity. Despite this genetic and historical relationship, modern Jewish populations show some variations due to migrations and diasporas. For example, Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews have mixed genetic traits, reflecting their coexistence with other populations over the centuries. Similarly, Beta Israel Jews from Ethiopia are descendants of Jews, but also have a significant proportion of Ethiopian native ancestry. These variations, however, do not eliminate the common genetic foundation that unites all Jewish groups and their genetic link with Arabs, reinforcing the concept that, despite differences, Jews and Arabs share a common lineage that dates back millennia. Ashkenazi Jews, although Jewish, have a genetic mix with European peoples, such as Germans and Italians, resulting from diasporas and interactions over the centuries. Likewise, Sephardic Jews, reflected by the term Sepharad, referring to the Iberian Peninsula, have a genetic heritage that includes traits from local populations in Portugal and Spain, making them of mixed heritage. Genetic studies of Middle Eastern peoples have revealed an interesting fact. Arabs, Syrians, and other native Semitic groups in the region have maintained their lineage with less external admixture. This is because many of these peoples remained in the Middle East over the millennia, preserving genetic and physical characteristics closer to their ancestral origins, including skin tone, hair texture, and other particularities. These discoveries reinforce the idea that despite the genetic variations among Jews and Arabs due to the dispersion of Jews around the world, both share a common root, evident both biblically and genetically. This ancestral connection reveals a deep brotherhood that transcends time and cultural differences. I hope you enjoyed this video, where we explored the fascinating connection between Arabs and Jews, a relationship that is undeniable both genetically and biblically. May God bless you all, and see you soon.